Released in late 2021, Kensei is the most recent class to be added into Realm of the Mad God, and in over a year since its release, it has easily been the most polarizing class in the game. Players typically fall into one of two camps, absolutely despising the Kensei, or thinking it is okay and somewhat playable from time to time. However, it is very rare to see someone say they like Kensei, and I doubt you have ever heard someone say it was their favorite. But today, that is all going to change. Because, well, I'm going to say it. Kensei is my favorite class in Realm of the Mad God, and it is not even remotely close. Now, before you grumpy old veterans click off the video, just hear me out. And for everyone else, today I'm going to showcase the Kensei, its strengths, its weaknesses, and how to master its incredibly unique and fun ability. So, first things first, why is the Kensei so great? Well, to start, it is a katana and heavy armor class, which is a great combo. The katana provides very solid damage, and the heavy armor enables you to push in and maximize the damage of your weapon. And this combo is why the samurai is universally considered a solid class. But what if we take the samurai's generic point-and-click ability and swap it out for an insanely high-risk, high-skill ability that enables the most unique and busted playstyle in the game? Well, that's exactly what the Sheath is. The Sheath is the most unique ability in the game. Upon first use, the Kensei becomes charged with 3 dashes. Then, by using your ability subsequent times, you dash in the direction of your cursor. By dashing over your enemies, you get a stackable attack bonus, and at the end of the dash, the player also shoots out shots that can be used to do damage at range. However, one wrong move with this ability, and your character is gone. Like, look. While learning this class, I literally just walked on top of Oryx because I thought I would be able to use my dash. And no more than a day later, I died once again, but this time because I used my dash. Right on top of a beer god. Unfortunately, this is where most players quit. They die a couple of times because of the Kensei's ability and immediately write off the class as bad or unplayable. Realm players are so used to just shooting an ability in a general direction or simply getting a buff that high skill ceiling abilities are a novelty, with the Trickster being the only real representative. But here's the thing, the Trickster is a support class. Its real value comes from well-placed decoys that enable others to do damage easier. And aside from rushing, its ability to teleport is actually very underwhelming. The Kensei though, if played well, has the most complete and well-rounded kit in the game. The Kensei playstyle can loosely be broken down into 3 key aspects: dash, dump, and poke. Dash is pretty self-explanatory. By dashing over enemies, you can chain up to 5 attack boosts, granting a 30% increase in attack when you're using a tier 7. While dashing, your dash trail also hits for an incredible 1400 damage. This means if you're able to comfortably dash over an enemy, it is almost always worth it. But dashing over a lot of enemies can be really risky, and sometimes it's not safe to dash over certain enemies for damage. This is when poke comes into play. The projectiles that shoot at the end of the Kensei dash have a damage that is actually comparable to a ninja star. Obviously, you're not likely to hit all 3 of your shots at range, but you also have 3 uses for every ability activation. Whenever you're doing a phase that you cannot push in on, bring your cursor close to your character. Use your weapon's shots as a guide to aim, and then dash forward. This is what I like to call a micro dash. These one-tile dashes are extremely low risk and allow you to contribute poke damage from range even when you can't push in or dash over an enemy. Even if you only land 1 shot with every poke, you're still going to be doing upwards of 1000 damage per ability use, and it's very realistic to do upwards of 2500. Poke is also incredible for wave clearing smaller enemies. Since the shots pierce, you can clean through hordes of weaker monsters without actually having to risk pushing in, functioning very similar to an archer's bow. The last of the 3 components I'm going to cover is dump. This is when you have kept all 3 of your dashes for a while and you're beginning to run out of time. In this case, it's just best to dump them all. If you get to a point where you need to dash but your timer runs out, you're going to have to wait for the ability to reactivate. This could either lead to you getting stuck in a pinch, or thinking you had your dashes when you really didn't. By incorporating dumps into your playstyle, it makes keeping track of dashes much easier. These dumps can also be used as poke damage, but your main goal is to dump all 3 of your dashes so that you have a fresh set ready for when you need them. Now, with dash, dump, and poke in mind, there's one last thing that is extremely important to keep in mind during all of these: cursor placement. Cursor placement is vital to preventing stupid deaths. This here is a perfect example. When rotating with Lucorix, if I had my dashes up and my thumb slips at the wrong time, my character is gone. As you can see though, I don't aim my cursor on the boss. Instead, I pull back just a little bit, so even if I do accidentally dash for some reason, I give myself a chance to react and keep my character alive. Now that you understand the basics, it's time to take a look at where this class truly excels. Kensei is arguably the best rushing class in the game. Aside from specific scenarios, the mix of high defense and incredible movement give it a combination of survivability and speed that no other class even really comes close to except for the warrior and the trickster. The ability to dash through shots, however, makes getting stuck in a dead end a complete wash, because you can just dash past all of the enemies that would otherwise corner you with a wall of shots. But unlike with the trickster, if you get yourself into a situation where you dash or teleport into a bunch of shots that could be really damaging, the Kensei's invulnerability is actually pretty lenient, so it's possible you just tank the shot and are able to get away completely unscathed, whereas the trickster never goes invulnerable and you don't really have any of that grace period. On top of that, if you tank a shot on the trickster, you're going to be eating a lot more damage than the Kensei does. As an extension of that same idea, if an enemy shoots a tight ring of shots, normally classes would have to push back out to avoid getting hit, and then push back in. With the Kensei though, you can just stay pushed in at all times. For example, in the Crystal Cavern, when you kill a crystal, the only way to avoid the purple ring of silencing shots is to back out, weave in between a tight window, and then push back in to wherever you're going. But with the Kensei, there's an incredible solution. Just dash over it. Oryx 2 shooting a ring of quiets? Kensei dash. Quiet bombs being annoying in Oryx Castle? Kensei dash. A bunch of shots boomeranging back to where you're standing in Oryx 3? I know, it might be a crazy idea, but hear me out. Kensei dash. When it comes to survivability, the Kensei dash is able to get you out of so many bad situations that I cannot list how many times it has just straight up saved my ass from having to Nexus or just die. A perfect example of this is Heavens in Oryx 3. On its own, it's not too hard to cross, but if Oryx is breathing down your neck and pushing you into the wall, then that is a really dangerous situation, unless you have the ability to Kensei dash. And trust me, I hear you trickster savants out there. Once you have your dashes up though on Kensei, you have a guaranteed 3 uses unless you get quieted or silenced. And this means you don't have to worry about running out of mana, and the mana ability or the mana usage of the Kensei is actually far more efficient than the trickster as well. But here's where it gets good. Whenever you dash over an enemy, you can stack attack boosts up to 5 times. So playing Kensei at max performance involves constantly dashing over enemies to keep up an attack boost at all times. And I personally am nowhere near mastering this. But as you start to get comfortable with dashing over enemies persistently, the ceiling of the Kensei is basically limitless. And to be honest, learning when to dash versus when to poke is really where the mastery of this class comes from. The ability to stay pushed in on bosses, combined with the already good DPS of the katana, allow the Kensei to be actually one of the highest practical DPS classes in the game. The reason Kensei is my favorite class in the game is because it is simultaneously the safest and most risky class to play at the exact same time. If I want to hop on and have fun going absolutely balls to the walls, pushing a character to its absolute limit, Kensei is the best class in the game. But if I just want to chill, log on, get completions, and do a dungeon without actually having to put in any effort and be a complete and total leech, the Kensei is able to avoid danger better than any other class in the game and still get DPS in. Recently, it's felt like the overall sentiment around the Kensei has started to improve a little bit, but it is easily still one of the most disliked classes in the game. But I really think it is just misunderstood. So I implore you, go ahead, make a Kensei and be prepared to have a few stupid deaths. That's okay. But just know, once this class finally clicks, there's a high chance you'll become a Kensei truther, just like me. In the comments, drop unique situations where the Kensei really shines. One of my favorites is dashing over minions in the void in order to decrease my damage to the boss. Other than that though, that's all I have for this video. I'm almost at 5,000 subscribers and I want to hit that by the end of the year. So if you see this and I haven't hit that goal yet, I would really appreciate it if you just take the time to hit that button. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Peace.